Welcome in to the Mountaineers Now postgame show presented by Country Roads Air Duct Cleaning. Take me home to comfort. That's Eugene, Napoleon. I'm Schuyler, Callihan, and we're here to recap West Virginia, Cincinnati. The Mountaineers closing out the home portion of their 2023 schedule with a 42-21 beatdown of the Bearcats. A familiar foe, but one that Mountaineers haven't seen in over a decade. Former Big East rival. Again, we won't get into that, but I think that we made our stance pretty clear on that in the game day show last week. But a quick look here at the numbers in this game. The Mountaineers did just about anything that they wanted to offensively. 634 yards of total offense, 424 of which came on the ground. Garrett Green had himself a bounce-back day, 12 of 19 through the air, 210 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. And then he also added 154 yards in 3 scores with his legs. And Jaheim White filling in as the starting running back in this game goes for 204 yards and a touchdown on 21 carries, also with a 75-yard touchdown catch. And this one was West Virginia pretty much from start to finish, Gene. It was even on that first drive where they went down, they didn't get the field goal. You still felt pretty good about where the offense started this game. Then the defense got the 3 and out, and you just kind of felt like it was just a matter of when, not if, the Mountaineers would take control.
Absolutely. Well, what did I say? We talked about this early in the week, right? Poor Bearcats.
Them poor Bearcats.
Poor Bearcats. At the end of the day, listen, man, when you dominate the line of scrimmage and you're disciplined on defense, anything is about to happen and subject to happen. And that's what happened today. Running the football allowed Garrett Green to have the type of day that he had. Those type of games, when you are able to dominate on the ground like that and you live on their opposite side of the line of scrimmage, you're going to do that. You're going to put up some big numbers, and that's what we did. So I'm really, really glad to see that, especially on, guess what, Don Nehlen's day. Right?
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, Don Nehlen's day, what did I say? Cincinnati comes into Morgantown and you'll leave them poor Bearcats. You understand? It is what it is. So I don't want to hear nothing about a rivalry. You got to win games before there be a rivalry, Schuyler. Come on now.
You do. And I really like the response in this one from a lot of people.
I don't think we'll hear that term.
Yeah. I mean, I love
Absolutely.
The response from a lot of people in this game. You're talking about Neil Brown hearing I don't know if he paid much attention to it, but I'm sure he had to have heard about it in some way, about the fans being frustrated with how the team played last week. And then you have the Jimbo stuff that comes out and all the fans want him to come to West Virginia. And then you have Jordan Leslie, the defensive coordinator, who was certainly under fire by the fans last week after giving up 59 points to Oklahoma. Garrett Green had his worst game. And all 3 of those guys, I thought, did a really good job. Neil Brown getting his team ready to play, did a really nice job calling the offense today. Jordan Leslie did a really good job. Again, most of Cincinnati's yardage on the ground and 14 of their points kind of came there toward the end of the game where it was already out of hand. So I can't even put too much stock into that. And then you go over to Garrett Green, and my goodness, what a day he had. And I think it's really important, not only that this team finishes the season strong, but for Garrett Green in particular. I mean, this is a guy that's kind of been up and down at times, but for the most part, he's been really consistent. He's taken good care of the football. And we didn't really get to see what he could do early on in the year because of that injury. It took him a little while to get going. And this was the better version, obviously, of Garrett today. And I think if he can carry this into next week and into the bowl game, that's going to be great news for his trajectory heading into 2024.
No doubt about it. You got to feel good about everything that he did today. And again, as you just stated, what a bounce back from what happened last week. And you have to do that, especially send the seniors out. This was senior day. Send them out the right way, number 1. End this season at home the right way, number 2. And each player who didn't play well last week bounced back today, and they all had magnificent games. That's the mark of a well-coached team. That's the mark of each week, each player is getting progressively better, and they play better as a unit because of that. So to me, individually, you play well, you're going to play well as a collective unit. And that's what this is all about. And we saw that today. Yeah. They put up offensively, they did exactly what they needed to do. Defensively, they did exactly what they needed to do. I don't really mind too much. All right, they give up 21 points, but I don't like to use the term, towards the end of the game, it's garbage minutes or whatever. Nah, listen, it is what it is. They were dominant, in my opinion, from start to finish, and that's how you close out the game at home.
Absolutely. And the one battle that we kind of mentioned earlier in the week that everyone was going to have their eyes on was Zach Frazier against Dante Corleone. And I got to say, I mean, obviously, I haven't watched the tape because I was watching a bunch of things throughout the game. You're not always concentrated on one area, but it felt like Zach had his way for the most part with Dante Corleone, who's one of the best Big 12 defensive linemen, and maybe one of the best interior defensive linemen in all of college football. Had a really nice day. He only had 2 tackles, 0 negative plays in terms of tackles for loss and sacks. So he did a really good job, I thought, on him. I think the offensive line as a whole did a really good job because remember, last week wasn't the greatest either there. And that's kind of where I think that game was lost, really, was up front in that offensive line in that Oklahoma game. So great news for Zach to go up and do what he did today to put that on tape against another premier NFL prospect. And but I got to talk about our guy, right? Jaheim White. My goodness, you get his first start. He goes over two Bills. And Gene, I know it's really early in his career, and I hate to put expectations or compare to him to anybody else, but man, it's like every time this kid touches the ball, you hold your breath because you just feel like, man, he's about to pop one. And it feels like every time he does get it, it's going for at least 7, 8, 9 yards.
Listen, I was telling my wife this earlier. So he's special. You understand? He's different. And I was telling her, barring any injuries throughout his career, you're looking at a back that he'll probably go down in history as one of the best running backs in WVU's history. And again, you don't want to overjump you know what I mean?
Yeah. The potential is certainly there.
But I'm going to tell you, the potential is definitely there. And the fact that he did what he did today, it kind of shows you how tough he really is because he went out a little nicked up early, right in the first quarter.
Yep.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, something with his calf, you know, but he came back and, man, listen, lit it up, man. I'm really impressed with that young man. And interviewing him a few months ago when he first committed to WVU, what a quality, high character young man. So not only is he dynamic on the field, he seems to be a really good individual and a good character young man off the field. Those things are real important. Not only is he talented, but he's a really good young man.
He's really slippery too. It's like every time he gets in between the tackles, you feel like a guy of his stature, being as small as he is, would kind of be an easier guy to bring down to the ground. But I mean, he's tough, he's physical, he's powerful for how small and compact he is. But also, he's very hard to tackle because of how slippery he is. I mean, he just does not go to the ground. Very good contact balance. And I've got to say too, that touchdown catch that he had, that 75-yarder, that's not an easy catch because Garrett really didn't put it on the money. He kind of had to throw him open a little bit, and he had to come back to it, reach down. He somehow got it, went upfield, and off he went. And once he gets the open field, there's no catching him. So really good game for Jaheim White. And it really looks like this Mountaineer backfield is really starting to come into its own. And I mean, look, if they can keep these two guys in 2024 and Garrett Green's coming back and all those guys are healthy, this is going to be an interesting team next fall.
Listen, it could be very special. They have the potential to be really special. And I'm really glad that they're starting to hit on all cylinders now. You know, like I said, you finish it out at Baylor, you do what you do, you close out an 8-4 season, an 8-win season for Neil Brown and that staff and these players. Anything is possible in the bowl game. You got the potential to end up with a potentially 9-win season. Come on, man. You know, I'm real excited about the future of where we're going. If this is what I have to look forward to, I'm excited about that.
Absolutely. And we'll dive more into all this stuff, what this means in terms of how this could carry into the 2024 season next week on the Walkthrough Game Day show. I will say, though, it does take a little bit of heat off of Neil. I don't think he's clearly out of the woods just yet, because if you go to Baylor and it's a meltdown and for some reason you lose that game, then that talk's going to keep coming back up. Remember, it seems like every time you feel like he's safe, something happens. And then every time you feel like, oh my gosh, he's right on the edge of the hot seat, they bounce back and they're fine. So I think next week that puts the fire out. If you go out and win at Baylor, you don't have to worry about anything in terms of coaching change, in my opinion. So let's go ahead and take a look here at the road ahead. It's not much of one because there's only one game left. and that is
Yep.
West Virginia heading to Waco next Saturday to take on the Baylor Bears, who are just absolutely struggling this season. They're 3-7. As we're taping this, they're down 28-17 to TCU with 14 minutes and 9 seconds to go in the fourth. So they're likely going to fall to 3-8, and West Virginia will have a chance to put them at 3-9. And this would also, Gene, this win today for Neil Brown is the most wins. I don't know if it's a good thing that we should be saying, but it's only 7. But hey, it is a step, right? It's a step in the right direction. 7 wins, the most in a season under a Neil Brown coach team at WVU. So we've got a lot coming up for you. I'll be back tomorrow morning for the morning after, recapping this one again, and then we'll get into how WVU beats Baylor, and then Gene will be back with me next Thursday on the Walkthrough Game Day show to preview West Virginia and Baylor, and we will have a bowl preview as well. So we got 2 more walkthrough shows to go for the 23 season. So thank you guys for tuning in to the Mountaineers Now post-game show presented by Country Roads Air Duct Cleaning. Take me home to comfort. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and give us a like on YouTube, and also give us a follow on X at Mountaineers Now. So for Eugene, Napoleon, I'm Schuyler, Callihan. You've been watching and listening to the Mountaineers Now post-game show. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow morning. Take care.